I'm Jana Manuelpillai, and for the past 10 years I've been travelling the world collecting, buying and selling art from South Asia. Along the way, I've been learning everything I can about the ways in which art and spirituality collide. In the West, we may have left religious art in the past, but in other countries, the relationship of the arts to the divine is as strong as ever. Art is still a way of connecting with a religious past and a means of bringing people together in the present. Join me on my most ambitious journey yet, flying to South India to meet two formidable artists. I want to understand how they see the world, the fantastic places that inspire them, and understand how India's ancient religious core influences their art today. At 21, I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, a degenerative eye condition that's left me with limited peripheral vision. My eyesight has made getting around the most well-lit places a challenge. Although I'm an art dealer who's losing his eyesight, I'm determined to see the positive. When I'm in a busy place, my vision allows me to block out any distractions and focus in on the beauty in front of me. It's like my superpower, enabling me to see art like no one else. Since the age of 12, I've been a collector. Whether it's movie memorabilia or religious icons, it has always become an obsession. About 2 years ago, I decided to merge my home and my art together in one place and started showing on the walls of my own flat and inviting people home. And it was a big step for me because I was used to having my own gallery space, but now I can have all my best work around me all the time and I can literally live amongst my works. I have 700 works or so in this room that I know exactly where everything is, and I think that that's what makes me different from a hoarder, because a hoarder doesn't really know what they've got, whereas I know what I've got. I know exactly what's in every nook and cranny of this room, but it is a bit obsessive. But my greatest obsession is travelling and meeting new artists, and I'm about to embark on my biggest journey yet. You know, it's funny, I've travelled the world. I've been to Burma, Ethiopia, Malaysia, all over the world, and I feel comfortable everywhere I go. But I always feel a little strange when I come to Tamil Nadu, because I am Tamil, and the people around me are Tamil, but I can't speak Tamil. I look like everyone here, but at the same time I stand out because I'm a tourist, I'm so blatantly English. It kind of reminds me of an experience I had once on a plane. I was sat next to this guy who started talking to me, and he said that he felt sorry for me. He said, I'll never be fully English and I'll never be fully Tamil. I'll always be kind of with an identity in between, kind of a little bit homeless. And it really annoyed me at the time, it upset me. And it became a kind of a real motivation in me to find out more about my Tamil roots. I don't know, I often think of that when I'm coming into Tamil Nadu and I'm, starting a journey like this. It always comes to mind. I'm on my way to meet Benita Percial, a 38-year-old artist from Chennai. Benita is a mixed media artist who recently has turned her hand to creating installations. She's very much a hunter-gatherer artist. Her artworks involve ingredients found in nature, such as rice paper, bark powder or henna. You can often see her making her way around antique markets or wood reclamation yards, looking for unique objects to feature in her next work. A Christian artist with Hindu ancestry, she loves looking to India's past temple life to find new meaning for the present. Today I'm in the industrial area of Chennai called Parry's Corner to see Benita's main studio. I'm really excited to see this place because I'm a big believer that that art emerges from interesting kind of captivating places, not from sterile white galleries, and this epitomizes that really.
Benita and I are good friends. I've been buying her work for over a decade. But I'm keen to learn more about her process for making her new installations.
Wow, nice. I'm fine. All right. Nice to see you. Wow, this is a big space.
Isn't it? It's a very beautiful place. It has been shut for 20 years, and we took over it and then kind of restored it.
It's a lovely studio. It's extremely clean. Maybe the cleanest artist studio I've ever seen.
Along with being clean, Benita's studio is filled with all kinds of intoxicating smells. It has the feeling of an artist's kitchen. It's not long before she has my head in a barrel, smelling the result of mixing myrobalan seeds and jaggery and leaving it to soak for a year.
Oh, that is a strong, pungent smell. It's a sweet smell, but like booze, and it really goes straight into the lungs.
In the color dyeing also they use this. You get very beautiful ochreish color because these materials, which when you go to the temples and these kind of ruins, ancient ruins, it has this magical, mystical quality. That is because of the construction, the architecture, the material what they've used it. So that is where it is kind of pulling you, to that sense. And especially these material can breathable because they are from nature.
So they breathe.
They breathe.
These aren't just materials, they are a way of transporting you back in time.
Yeah.
Where do you even get these from?
My brother collects from the mountains.
From the mountains?
Yes.
Benita's most recent preoccupation is making installation sculptures out of incense. The aroma of sandalwood transports me to the peace of the Hindu temple, exactly what she wants.
So all these have different smells? Or they're all the same incense?
See, when I started working with the material, when I wanted to work in the incense material, I had no clue. So I went to the people who make incense. So they told me the raw materials, but they didn't tell me the proportion. So I have to find out the proper mixing and the proportion.
You have to experiment.
So it took quite a long time to understand the material and the mixing.
These are really gorgeous pieces. It must be amazing to make one of these.
Why don't you help me? Yes.
Is it a dirty job?
Very, very.
Very dirty, is it? You're going to make me do it? All right, okay, let's do it. I'm an art dealer, so I normally keep my hands clean, but now I'm going to have to get down and dirty.
Benita rustles up the ingredients she needs for one of her iconic incense virgin statues.
These really are Benita's colours, these. It's beautiful. Beautiful to see them all in their natural form.
I love that this brings together a Hindu temple-centered past and a Christian mother figure. Into the bowl goes myrrh, frankincense, clove and many other assorted powders.
It's just pouring it in like some alchemist.
Put your hands and mix it together, or
Yeah.
should I start?
You show me first.
Mix well, like.
Okay, if it's blowing out like this.
Yeah.
Well, I normally go to an artist studio, treated to a cup of tea, and I sit down and look at canvases. This is something quite different.
This is where the hard work is going to happen. Everything has to blend well.
If it doesn't blend, what happens, Benita? Right, oh I see, okay. Kneading it really with a lot of momentum and strength, which I wasn't using before, which is my mistake.
Benita is known for her militant precision. She might seem shy and retiring, but it's important I get this right.
Can I have a go? You're showing me up. I want to find that rhythm you've got. To be fair, I've never made bread, and this is closest to making bread.
Much better.
Much better. I've got the rhythm now, yeah?
Yes. We make dough like 200, 300 kilos for even larger scale.
300 kilos of this?
Yes.
You and your poor husband.
And some of the friends, of course.
And your friends.
I had no idea there was this much work involved. The next part of the process is to roll the lovely smelling incense clay flat and then divide it into two halves. These fill the two sides of the Madonna.
So this is kind of the moment of truth where the two halves of the mould get put together,
Yes.
and they'll stick together using this little bit of paste, and
Yes.
then we've got to leave it, I guess, for it
Yes.
to set.
Set.
Okay. That's a nice sandwich
Let me do the time.
with the tying, yeah.
Really
Really touch. So I go twice round?
No, you make a knot here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Woo! Job done. That was a lot harder than I thought. I thought it was, I thought it would be kind of easier to roll, easier to mold, easier to get it in and easier to tighten it, but it was actually pretty tough. Happily help you in your studio. I really enjoyed that.
Looking around her studio, I suddenly am aware of the number of works she has created using this laborious technique. Particularly the giant Madonna, which surely must have taken months to complete. I now have even more respect for Benita and her work. She really is a tour de force.
What an experience. You can kind of go to all the art galleries and exhibitions in the world and you can see art in these pristine, clean background walls. But there is nothing like going to an artist's studio, seeing Benita's work in her studio where she makes it. What an experience. Entirely exhilarating. I can't wait to see more.
Nighttime falls in Chennai, and I hit the busy streets of Pondi Bazaar to take in some of the action. But as I do so, I am hit by the normal limitations of my disability.
With 30% vision at night, kind of tunnel vision, and everything else around that area quite dark, it makes seeing things like these kind of debris, road debris, which is on the pavement, difficult to see, and it makes poles like this and steps like that. I have to look directly down to see those, and I need to look up. Naturally, I want to look up. I want to take in India as I'm enjoying it, and I want to continue to enjoy it. But with my eyesight, it is really a ticking clock for what I'm going through. My eyesight is depreciating, and I've got to say fuck it. I've got to look up. I have to use this stick to let people know that I have a vision problem, if that means something here, and just try my best. And if I fall, I fall. But what can you do when you're crossing roads like this? What can you do?
Crossings in India are rare, and if they appear at all, no one uses them properly, charging through at high speed in their vehicles.
This is where we're going to cross the road because there's no crossings, or at least I can't see any, and most people are just crossing as they go. So we just have to wait for an opening and just try and get across. I don't know if this stick even does anything. I don't know if it means anything in Indian. I haven't asked anyone, but I'm holding it like it's Moses in the Red Sea, going to part the waves to get across here. I think you've got to edge onto the road. That's the technique.
The next day I joined Benita on a visit to a space that informs all of her art, her church, St. Paul's.
Wow, I love this nave. It's really beautiful.
As I walk around, I wonder how often Benita comes here and how the act of prayer impacts her art.
So Benita, religion is a really important part of your work, but it's also a really important part of you. You're very, would you say very religious?
Yeah.
Yeah? So how often do you come to church?
During Sundays, but apart from that also whenever I feel like, wherever I pass, I stop in a church. But Not
Yeah.
necessarily St. Paul's, but I stop in any church.
And how do you pray?
Praying is always like, that is one feel I used to have very open. There is no boundaries. Sometimes I sit quietly, and sometimes I just, whatever I feel like talking, I speak everything.
It occurs to me here with you that in the West, artists don't normally are openly not religious, or that if their religion enters their art, it's normally to kind of poke fun or to say something satirical or to be controversial. But with you, there's actually a very honest and meaningful faith that pervades your work.
Without these grounds, I may not get the same sense what you're talking about. So they taught me in the early words.
And so your referencing of the Virgin Mary, or almost creating yourself as the Virgin Mary in your self-portraits, comes out of it seems to me, a glorification of her acceptance as a woman, and her strength as a woman in her difficult times.
Even in the last two sculptures, I did the same thing with the Virgin Mary in incense material, and the Pieta without Christ, absence of a Christ. I made it like I built her with the stucco method. Whole point of a mother's transformation, how strong as a character she was.
As in all places of worship that I visit, I take a moment to kneel and pray. It gives me time to reflect, be thankful, and think about what I have learnt.
It occurs to me when I'm in this church and I'm looking at the images of Christ and the Virgin and saints around me, and I'm taking in their art at the same time as in prayer and in meditation. It occurs to me that it's very similar to when I'm in a gallery and when I'm in an exhibition looking at an artwork. I'm communing with it in a very similar way, and in that sense, art and God and divinity have so much in common. The way that we commune with it, the way it needs a meditation and kind of a self-immersion to get the most out of that experience. I find it fascinating, that overlap.
I leave Bonita and head to Moore Street Market. It has existed since colonial times, and you can find lots of exciting bits and bobs here. I'm searching for an icon for my shrine, but I find plenty more to thrill me.
Kind of emblem of Indian life is an image of a Shiva Lingam, a stylized image of Shiva as a phallic shape, which you see in temples, and this has been carved and painted on a pouring vessel. So it'd be used every day, literally everyday life made divine. So one of the things I find so fascinating and exciting about India is the way the spiritual infuses everything of daily life. And here's a good example. Over here we've got some Ganeshas, little Ganeshas that are for sale. But just here are the same Ganeshas on this shelf, but these are worshipped every day, and little rituals and pujas would have been done by the shop owner to pay reverence to Ganesh on this shelf. Now these are just a few centimeters apart, but it just shows how much art and religion and daily life in India are intertwined.
I next go to perhaps the most famous heritage site in South India, Mahabalipuram, a place I first visited with my family over 15 years ago. Crowds flock from all over the world to visit this 7th century Mecca of South Indian sculptural art.
It's an ancient site full of relics from the 7th century, and it's from a certain era, a certain dynasty called the Pallava dynasty, which was a dynasty that had about 500 years of real cultural enhancement, and particularly in the arts. I'm really moved being here and looking again at this wall, this relief carving behind me into this solid stone wall that takes me back to my initial awe when I was here. And I think it was the first moment that I really, from a cultural point of view, connected with my own background in terms of the arts and so on. And I really understood kind of the wealth or the richness of the culture that I was coming from. I was a big fan of comic books, such as Thor and things like that, with these kind of cross sections of all society, but where people with godlike powers or gods themselves were moving amongst everyday people. And you can see that here. A whole cross section of this kind of universe, this Hindu universe, was there before my eyes. Thinking about it, it was this 7th century masterpiece that ignited a passion that turned into an obsession and finally a collection of Indian contemporary art.
After I've had my fill of the massive archaeological site, I hit Benita's favourite sculpture yard.
The technique that sculptors in Mahabalipuram use is something that has been passed down generations. Since the 7th century, there have been sculptors working and living in this area, communities of them, all looking at Ganesh, Hanuman, Shiva, and creating these amazing variants on those divine themes. It's quite breathtaking to think that there's been no break in that, and even today around us we have a sculptural setting that continues that legacy.
Benita is from a talented family full of artists. Centuries before, her Hindu ancestors were temple sculptors, artists who would have known of this famous area.
So why is it that Mahabalipuram means so much to you, Benita?
When I come to this land, wherever you turn, everywhere you look, there is evidence of our rooted culture, and which is very precise in the style, which later took over everywhere.
There are so many gods and goddesses depicted in this sculpture yard, but the one that catches my eye is my own personal favourite, Hanuman, the standing monkey god, thought to be a god dedicated to divine servitude. Here he's pictured standing upright, his hands clasped together at the beck and call of the god Rama. Quite beautiful, don't you think? I tell you what, it was great being in the hustle and bustle of Chennai, but I can't wait to get into the green lush of Kerala. It's going to be beautiful.
I arrive in Trivandrum in Kerala excited to meet artist Pradeep Patur. For nearly 7 years now I've been in love with Pradeep's surreal paintings. They all display a unique and bizarre language that only Pradeep can fully understand. Each painting often tells of some aspect of the world that Pradeep has noticed or that gives him great concern. Sexual threat makes its way subtly into many of his pieces. His content ranges from the absurd to the comical and sometimes to the oddly truthful. In Kerala, one can stumble upon his art even on the street. His paintings have brought him great success. His work has been exhibited and collected worldwide, and he has represented India at the Florence Biennale in 2005. One of Pradeep's favourite haunts is Challai Market. There are many places that Pradeep goes for inspiration, but none as energetic as Challai.
Whoa.
The Challai Market is spread along a narrow 2-kilometre road. Everything is available in Challai, from garlands and fruit to pots and pans, and of course the obligatory giant peacock feathers. Pradeep takes me around the beloved market and describes what he finds so engaging.
when you look at something like this,
Yeah.
you think of it as an artwork, as an installation, and then you
definitely.
build a painting around
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And this is the kind of colours, this kind of real brightly coloured mixture that
Yes,
makes
sir.
it into your paintings, I guess.
Definitely. I've searched my colors from the streets because the combination is, we can easily understand the combination.
Yeah,
from the
yeah, yeah,
outside.
yeah.
For Pradeep, life here is one giant organism with many arms, legs, mouths, minds and hearts. All of humanity is here, without caste, without class. Everyone is in here in this same road, buying, selling, putting things away, taking things out. It's really fascinating. Once in Pradeep's studio, I want to know how his ideas make their way into his art.
What a big studio! Lovely.
How does he form this strange visual language? So Pradeep, in these works, what I can immediately see is a kind of a distorted human skeleton.
These bonds are not the real bonds that is created. There is a lot of bonds. This makes a different way to create a different meaning. How to make a different meaning? How to make a different language for painting? That is my
That's your interest.
yes.
These skeletons are in very interesting poses. For example, if you look over here, you've got a skeleton that seemingly is in a cross-legged, like an Indian guru kind of pose, in a yogic pose. So he's left in that pose after decay and deterioration. And in other ones, in this one, his legs are wide open, just as if sitting on the ground. So in a way, it feels like you're poking fun at those people that look at things like gold as really important, because really what's important is what you leave behind.
In another room of his vast studio, Pradeep shows me a painting that tells of his concern for the poorer, often voiceless people of Kerala.
I love your dodos because these dodos, you can tell, are trapped. They're always cocooned and elongated like totem poles. They become bastions to a previous life that was better.
That is in Ireland, human beings they enter. They are coming to them. They have no fear because they don't know other people are attack. That is why people shoot all the things and very few, within few years, all the dodos exist.
And you relate that to the original inhabitants of Kerala.
That is the same condition in India, everywhere, in the common people. They are always losing their land, their space. They have no space here. No. Actually, that is a very horrible thing.
Pradeep takes me to Visanjam, a small fishing village and a place that he has been visiting since his art student days. It's an ancient place dating back to 850 AD. But today the place is in turmoil. Visanjam is to be an international deep-water, multi-purpose shipping hub. So this place is a place of great change because they're building a harbour here that is taking their land, taking their space.
In my college days also I visited here to sketch all this. The surroundings are very beautiful.
Yeah.
And their power of fishing and this, the energy level. And a lot of fishes with colorful fishes. And the landscape is totally different. You can see that.
It wasn't like this.
Oh, a fantastic landscape. And this is a wonderful space for artists.
There's a long, if not ancient, history around fishing in this area in Visayanjam, and it's historically important. And as in lots of places in India, the history and the deep-rooted culture just gets sometimes forgotten as big business takes over this area.
The history of the real fishermen people definitely washed
away.
Yeah, no doubt, washed away. And newcomers are coming here. New money people are here. And they make big houses, concrete jungles here, and they make a lot of business here. The ordinary people, I don't know where they live. Definitely now they are struggling.
Progress seems synonymous with greed here. There is an inevitability about what is to come to these voiceless people on the verge of extinction.
They are living in their small circle. They don't go to other places. They married and live here. Their families are here. Their other relatives are here. They like to live in a small circle.
The world is changing around them. It must be frightening for them.
I leave here depressed that this beautiful spot will be wiped away. The next day, I come across a Brahmin household and see a favourite ritual of mine take place.
Everywhere you look in India, you see art and religion overlapping, and perhaps no better expression is this kolam drawing. They are essentially geometric shapes that are created into a beautiful pattern by the women of the household, and they are done at the footsteps of the doorway. They're ephemeral things. People walk through them, over them, and they're not given a second thought. And each day they are replaced. Art is reborn daily.
Later on, I take a trip out to Varkala's Sivagiri Mutt, the famous tomb of sage Sri Narayana Gurudevan. At certain times of the year, the tomb attracts thousands, but today I have it all to myself. Gurudevan introduced new types of temples that departed from tradition. He reconnected the space with the outside world. For him, the love of people and nature had to be at the very centre of religion.
I'm here today to pay homage to a very great man, and that is Sri Narayana Gurudevan. He's a philosopher, a thinker, a revolutionary, a social reformer. In a normal worship space, prayer is unidirectional. You pray to a deity or an effigy. Gurudevan changed that by replacing the deity with a mirror. By replacing the deity with the mirror, innately the worshipper is looking at themselves and having to ask themselves difficult questions. Am I being a good human being? Am I being kind? Am I being generous? Am I treating everyone equally? It was an amazingly visionary thing to do. And you know what? For me, it was artistic. That space became an art installation of sorts, making worship truly accessible to everyone.
Later that day, Pradeep had a special treat for me, something that wowed him as a child and continues to influence his art today. He had invited a group of performers from the jungle villages of Kannur to come hundreds of miles on a train to Trivandrum. They are to perform a ritual called a Theyam. In it, a performer is said to fall into a trance and be possessed by a deity, today the goddess Devi. Alcohol is frowned upon by the higher class Brahmins, but just like in a voodoo ritual, it is seen as a necessary evil, used to cleanse the costume before performance.
The subterfuge use of alcohol in this ceremony, in this quite classy temple, Hindu temple, is kind of testament to this clash of cultures, this clash of castes, low class and high class Brahmins, and also to the rural and the urban in many ways. We've got this meeting epitomized in this ritual.
The would-be deity's makeup is applied with precision and skill. The bright colours and stylization of the deity's face remind me of the lines and shapes in Pradeep's surreal paintings. If the performer is to become the embodiment of a goddess, he is going to have to look the part. As nighttime falls in the temple, the congregation have no idea what's coming. I make my way into the temple grounds, a bundle of nerves. A long-time ambition of mine is about to be fulfilled.
I've known about this ritual for nearly a decade, and I've always wanted to see it. I've never had the chance to travel to where it happens, and now it's happening here. And in just a few minutes, we're going to see this very, very rare ritual that is extraordinary, I've heard. I can't wait to see it.
The goddess's shaking foot seems evidence of her seething power, but also a sign of the performer readying himself to carry the unbelievably heavy costume. I didn't expect the performance to involve the goddess running at speed. It seems a sign of omnipotence, like a spirit showing ownership of the whole temple for everyone to see. It is fantastical, yet tangibly real, like Pradeep's paintings.
That was amazing. I love the idea of getting a gift direct from a god. I've had loads of blessings from kinds of clergymen of different sorts, but never from a god, you know, a possessed person with the feeling of a god or the divinity within them. Well, I found that amazingly inspiring, and I'm not surprised you did too.
Definitely inspired, because it is a very powerful art form.
Truth be told, I feel quite different after this trip. I think that guy who said that I was homeless of sorts, or identityless, saying that because I'm not fully British, I'll never be British. I'm neither Sri Lankan, not fully Indian, though I have Indian heritage. I'm not really fully Christian or fully Hindu, really, either. And I think he was wrong, and I feel kind of sorry for him now. Because I feel, rather than homeless, I feel kind of home full. Wherever I go, wherever I rest my hat, as they say, I feel very at home there. And that goes worldwide. I'm kind of a global citizen. I feel very blessed for that. Very blessed indeed. This trip has ignited my passion to discover new artists all over the world. There are so many other journeys like this to be made, and I won't let my eyesight stand in my way.